Some say weekends are for actions. Definitely Mondays like this are for reactions. Top of the morning to you wherever you're watching us from, and you're welcome to Dominion Sport right here on Dominion Television, where we serve you everything exciting in the world of sport. And trust me, this wonderful morning we'll be taking the dive straight from the local stories, giving you updates from the Super 4 in the NNL to play. We're talking Doma United, we're talking Ranchers, we're talking sports in Lagos, and we're definitely talking Inter Lagos. Also, we'll be giving you updates from across the league, especially the Premier League, the FA Cup, the games tonight between Manchester United and Brentford, and also giving you updates in the world of basketball. All this and more on the show this wonderful morning. I am Paul Abe Toluwanemi, and I'm not alone in the studio. I have the Queen of Sport, Mabuba, joining me this wonderful morning. Also, I have Sam Nudin Alimi, who's ready to talk sport right here on the go. Top of the morning to you, Mabuba, and what's the highlight of the weekend and what should we expect from you this wonderful morning?
Toluwanemi, and to you, Nuruddin, good morning. So, as you mentioned, we have a lot of actions to unpack this morning. We had, a couple of FA Cup matches over the weekend with Shooting Stars, not securing the win and losing the match to Crown FC. And then we also have a number of matches to look to analyze as well and dissect in the English Premier League, and then the FA Cup, as I mentioned. And for tomorrow, we also have the match between PSG and Bayern Munich for the first leg of the semi-final of the UEFA Champions League. And we also have Nuruddin, who's over here to give us some top highlights and insight into the basketball matches and just to look forward to as the FIBA Women's World Cup rolls around. And then we're here to discuss, as Toluwanemi has mentioned, we're here to discuss and analyze every single thing and give you our takes of all that went down. And sure, enjoy your time with us.
Okay. It looks like maybe you had a discussion with Nuruddin Alimi because you mentioned him twice in your introduction. So I'm wondering, are we safe now?
We're safe, definitely.
Okay, so Nuruddin,
it's all good. It's all good. She missed me over the weekend.
I guess.
Normal. We are back here on the table. We are back here on the table to talk about football, basketball, tennis, Formula One, and all things that has to do with sports. The weekend was packed. We had semi-final action in the English FA Cup. We had finals in the State FA Cup in different states in the Federation. There were playoff matches in the NBA. We are in the playoff season now. Some teams are leading 3-1, some are 11-2-2, some are 11-4-1. So a lot of things to talk about in the world of basketball. And the tennis, the Madrid Mutual Open has entered the second week. This is the decisive stage. We're in the quarterfinals now. Top seeds advancing to the quarterfinals, and we had lots of withdrawals due to food poisoning, stomach pains, injuries, and all. And we have the big one coming in Roland Garros. Carlos Alcaraz is going to be missing that due to injury. He has been confirmed after the scan on his hand. So we have that to talk about and loads more on the show this morning. It's nice to be back again, and it's Monday for reaction. I'm here for it. Okay,
beautiful. We're definitely up for all the reactions because we're about to dissect and also give you top-notch analysis on the sport we have on the menu this wonderful morning. There's a Super 4 fixtures, match day one. The draws. We talked about the draw on Friday. The draws are upon us right now. Sporting Lagos are going to face Ranchers Bees on the 4th of May. Doma United are going to face Inter Lagos on the 4th of May, 2026. Match day 2 is going to be Ranchers Bees against Inter Lagos. Sporting Lagos against Doma United. Match day 3 is going to be Doma United against Ranchers Bees. Inter Lagos against Sporting Lagos. Sanuruddin, one thing that struck my attention was the prize money. 10 million naira. Another participating team goes on with the sum of 2 million naira. And I'm wondering, it's a lot to happen.
That's the state of our league. That's the state of our league. That's to show you it's nothing to write home about. Just the beautiful thing is these teams are back in the NNL, and one of them gets to claim the champion of the championship that just concluded. So it's just that the financial package is nothing to write home about. Right from the MPFL down to the lower league. So and that shows in the deficit in infrastructure, in player management, healthcare, and all that has to do with giving the sport a standard image. So with that, you mentioned the 10 million. It's nothing to write home about, but we are looking forward to the fixtures. These teams have all tried all season long in their different conferences. They are going to meet at the center stage now. We need a winner to determine who goes over with the cup, and let's see what happens. The show now starts next week, it's something exciting to look forward to, and I'm here for it. Okay, beautiful. Let's talk about those fixtures quickly. I know your mind also, you're wondering, 10 million naira for all of this I've done. Do you know how much
I've kept into this? I'm going to go with 10 million naira. 10 million naira in one sitting. I think we are done with 10 million naira in one sitting. We
had a discussion last week, and we were deciding how much we are going
to look forward to.
We're talking about for a standard football club all season long. They are going to transport their players down to the venue of this event. hoteling,
Feeding,
transport, feeding, logistics and all, miscellaneous costs and all that's going to come down to at the end of the day. And 10 million is just like an encouragement. That's why most private investors need more from the governing body to push their team to these prestigious stages in the competition. Because if you don't give me a financial package that is awesome or that is fruitful to me, I don't think I'll be putting my money down for earning 10 million at the end of the day after I spent over 15, 20 million personal cost to push the team to this stage. And now telling me it's 10 million, I have to give him point. But they will look forward to the partnership and sponsorships they will get from the competition later on and their inclusion back into the NPFL, like I said. So that's like the juicy package for them, and we're looking forward to the matches.
All right, let's talk about it quickly. Match day one, Sporting Lagos Ranchers B, Doma United Inter Lagos. This team is going to feature. So that for you, what's exciting and what should we look forward to in such fixtures like when it comes to the Super 4?
Okay, so the thing is that, as you mentioned, I love the fact that we actually have a number of teams who are now promoted to the NPFL and are going to participate in these encounters. Take Sporting Lagos, for example, now. And we know that we've actually been hearing a number of news circulating about Sporting Lagos over the weekend, the fact that they've been able to qualify for the Super 4. So I do think that it is more or less, should I say, an opportunity for us to actually see those teams that we will be witnessing over there in the NPFL in action. And personally, for me, I cannot wait. Although it is kind of difficult to actually identify who is going to go all the way to the win, but I think matches like this are for us to actually identify which teams are going to top or which team we can place expectations on as we dive into the final days of the competition. And regarding the earlier discussion about the prize money, I do think that it is more or less, should I say, it is kind of reflective of the state of football on a global, not global, but in a national level when it comes to Nigeria. Although the prize money there is little, 10 million naira and then 2 million naira for the participating team, but I do think that it is sort of reflective, as I mentioned. Even though the budgets for the NSC saw shall I say, an enormous increase from the previous year to now, I think it's 203.6 billion naira, but then we should understand that the NFF, which is the body governing totality of football in Nigeria, is just getting 1.1% of the totality of that money. And I would say that it is more or less, the result of the limited investment that we are seeing from the national body towards sort of football, which appears to be, the number one sport that we have in Nigeria. So when the number one sport is getting just 1.1% of the entire budget, things like this, teams receiving just a token of 10 million naira for as cash prize for a certain competition is bound to happen. So I just feel that certain things like this are bound to happen. And regarding the Super 4, I'll just say that there is a lot to play for, and it will be exciting for us to see, these teams that are newly promoted to the NPFL participating in this competition, and there is a lot of excitement that awaits us.
All right, beautiful. Let's move away from that and let's talk, more football. But right now we're moving to the women's side of things. We're talking about the Nigeria Under-17 team. The Flamingos have opened the preparation for 2026 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup qualifiers with a dominant 6-0 victory over Generation Next in Abuja. As head coach Hakeem Ishola Busari continues to shape his squad. Let me inform you that the emphatic win came during a 60-minute friendly at the Goal Project on Saturday, where the Flamingos took control early and led 4 goals to 0 at halftime before the match was altered in the 54th minute due to heavy rain. Goals were spread across the squad, with Shafiu opening the scoring inside the first minute, following a brace from Toby Loba in the 10th and 23rd minute. Amoni Chidi added the 4th in the 28th minute, while Aminat Adebisi struck just before halftime, and Precious Paul completed the scoring early in the second half. Busari, who recently replaced Bonkole Oluwakere, is overseeing the first major assignment with the team as they aim to qualify for the tournament in Morocco, scheduled for October 17 to the 7th of November 2026. Let me inform you that Nigeria will face Guinea in a 2-legged tie, with the first leg away between May 22nd and May 24th before the return fixture in Abuja on May the 30th. Ahead of the qualifier, the Flamingos are scheduled to play warm-up friendlies against Nazareth Queens today after Generation Next encounter, as Busari continues to assess players' readiness and tactical organization. there we have it. You know, we talked about Busari's appointment. You know, after leaving Pacesetter Queens, we didn't see so much with Pacesetter Queens, but right now he got a victory, a friendly, and the next stop is against Guinea. For you, already at the girls, and also tactically, technically, how do you think you know, our coach Busari is ready? You know, to take Nigeria to Morocco when it comes to 17th of October to the 7th of November.
It looks ready, judging by the last result of the game, but it's expected from them. They played against an academy, and these are girls that are pros, that are looking to become pros in their field. So it's expected they got the maximum victory, and the way they set up was nice. At least, even though the game didn't get to the 90 minutes at the end of the day, you could see glimpses of brilliance from the girls, and you know they can improve on one or two areas on the field of play. So good one for Busari, who was criticized heavily for his performance with Pacesetter Queens. He got the bump in the job. Now he's looking like the man to take the team onto the next level. So congratulations to them on the victory, and looking forward to their game later today to assess more of their qualification ahead of the competition.
For you, the Queen of Sports, the ladies are now doing business when it comes to the friendly. Let's talk about Busari's appointment. For you, how excited are you with that appointment after leaving the Pacesetter Queens? And also tactically and you know, technique-wise, do you think is the man set for this job to take the girls to Morocco?
Well, as Nuruddin has mentioned, we saw a number of exciting performances from the ladies, which is quite fascinating to see, considering the fact that they'll be heading to the World Cup later in May. And I know that when we're talking about this appointment after for the under-17s taking over the under-17 women's team, and the fact that his performance with Pacesetter Queens hasn't been quite impressive, I think I did mention the fact that despite the fact that things are not going well for him at Pacesetter Queens, we need to also consider the quality of players in his possession over their Pacesetter in comparison to those that he is looking forward to coaching as at that time at the FIFA, the Nigerian women's national team. But at the same time, despite the fact that these ladies are getting the results in their friendlies, a part of me isn't convinced yet. The results are quite convincing, but we should understand the fact that these ladies are heading to the FIFA World Cup, and that is a that's like the highest competition for ladies of that level, and they're competing against academy girl or ladies that are in an academy. Sure, that result is expected to be quite shambolic if they suffer defeats to these academies, but we do not want to see a repeat of what we saw with the D Tigress when they were competing against these top teams, that friendly, going against South Korea, going against France. If we actually want to assess how prepared these ladies are, you know, how qualified they are to play at national level and maybe eventually win the FIFA Under-17 World Cup for Nigeria, they need to actually face tougher competitors, not against competitors whereby there is a higher certainty of them defeating those people. So the results is okay, but at the same time, I cannot say or ascertain the preparedness for the FIFA Under-17 World Cup if these are the opponents that they keep facing in preparation for a tournament of such magnitude.
I feel, I feel they will still get better opponents. This is just to assess the players that will make up the team to go, because the World Cup is still later in the year.
Even if we're assessing players that are going to go, if you assess players that are going to go to a top level, a top magnitude of a tournament with teams of lesser quality, no offense, it still doesn't ascertain. But if we want to ascertain who is better in the defense and the midfield, they need to actually play with better opponents.
The Super Falcons are not even getting friendly. So
that's exactly what we are saying. I think that's exactly what we are saying. Okay. The nature of Nigerian football, it is more of a social conditioning, whereby we know that even the Super Falcons are not getting somewhat better. So why should we expect something better even for the under-17 national team? That way, we are not going to get better at any level. At the national level.
For age group, this is an I'm sorry to you, this is an age grade competition.
Yes.
No national team in the world brings in top. I don't see friendlies happening between age grade countries against most times when it's not even close to the tournament yet. This is
that does not mean that we cannot actually take the right step in that direction.
This is the best they can get for now.
We keep settling for less, and we keep on expecting Nigerian football to get better. It cannot get better.
You don't expect. The NFF they've not organized friendlies for the Super Falcons who have a competition before these ladies.
Yes.
With top opponents from around the world. This is the qualifier for the World Cup for women, and they don't have friendlies set for them. You expect them to pump money into age grade competitions that are not even sure that they will get to the competition at the end of the day. This is just preliminary rounds. So, even the male under-17 team don't play their opponents from except they go to CAF and WAFU B competitions. That is where they go. if you want to play 8th grade competitions or you want to prepare and you want to get your teams, the first point is play against academies within the country. Post that, you look for friendlies outside. This is still the preliminary rounds. They will get to play more of them before they get contacts with other teams that are going to be playing at the competition and say, okay, we have top grade opportunity. This is the best they will get.
Academies from their country. I don't feel that we are settling because Nigeria said that we should settle. So I think we're comfortable with the settling now. No, so that's just it for me. No, okay. But I do think that, as I mentioned before, maybe NFF does not particularly have the resources because you can't pin the entire blame on NFF. Maybe there are some, certain circumstances that leads to them settling.
What of the money they've got?
NFF does not have money.
So I want to ask a question.
They do not have the
money. Guys. I want to ask a question before we talk about football. Basketball quickly. Okay. In senior climbs, which under 17 teams have you play, top when it comes to friendlies?
Preparations for
competition. Which
I can't identify one.
Okay.
But at the same time, I do feel that there is a possibility for the NFF to actually fix these matches. But I do understand the circumstances that can lead to NFF not wanting to take that major step. Yeah. Because we understand that maybe fixing those matches is going to require a number of resources. But we know that when it comes to the state of sports totally in Nigeria, the level of priority when it's that is even given to football is not at that top level. As I mentioned, just 1.1% of 2.3 billion, 203.6 billion naira is being given to the NFF. So maybe the NFF does not have that money. But I think that is the reality that we are facing right now with the NFF. But at the same time, I really do not think that we should just settle because they've decided that we should do so. It doesn't help the state of football, which we claim is top sport in Nigeria. If we keep on settling for instances like this, then how else are we going to get back to that position that we used to be in the 1980s or the 1990s? We can never get there again.
All right. We need to move quickly. Let's
talk about this behind
the scenes.
Let's move quickly, guys, and let's talk about Nigeria women's national basketball team. We're still on the women right now. And, Nigeria women's basketball team fell to 63-89 to Los Angeles Sparks. Now, the WNBA Tour 2026 continues, April 27 to Minnesota Lynx and also May the 2nd to Indiana Fever. But we lost the first game. We're talking about the Los Angeles Sparks. For you, not what we want to see, but maybe it's just because of the friendly.
It's not because of the friendly. Personally, to me, I just feel that we can't, if we're going to ascertain the level of preparedness of these ladies, if we take a look at it and the resources that we have and the quality of players that we have and the quality of opponents that they faced over time, then we can't particularly say the ladies are not prepared. They might be prepared, but at the same time, sometimes other teams are just better. Sometimes it's possible for you to do all the right things and still not be at the top level of the opponents that you're facing. They actually suffered, a loss in their previous one that they played, and then they suffered a loss in this one as well. So it's not as if they are not prepared, but there's a number of things that goes into making a team, to be at that level of them being able to go head to head with certain competitors. The tour isn't going as much as we want, and when we take a look at the friendly that we had against South Korea, against France as well over the past week, we had these losses too, and we're hoping that Marina Wakama is going to do a number of arrangements to make sure that we get the wins. But they're not getting the wins, and to me, I just feel like this is more or less, should I call it a reflection now of where exactly we are when it comes to level of preparedness and also the level of women's basketball. The level of women's basketball in Nigeria entirely. Yeah. So I don't say that it's not as if the girls are not prepared. It's not as if they're not putting in their best. But sometimes some teams are just better, not because the players are built differently, but because of the level of training, the resources and the technicalities that have been going into these particular teams before they face their opponents. So I don't think that yes, ladies are prepared. They are training. They are doing all the right things. But to me, I just feel like the other teams were better, and we are seeing that manifest in the result that they've been getting over time.
And maybe this might just shape the girls, for the competition ahead.
Yes, it's top level opposition. This is the NBA, the Women NBA, the equivalent of the NBA in USA. This is the top teams all competing for the World Trophy later at the end of the season. This is the preseason for them. We spoke about it on Friday, and the girls are going on a tour. It's interesting. Is to assess their performances and look to pick one or two Nigerian, two Nigerian decent players to join the team as well. So, for me, yes, they didn't win the game, but I'm looking more towards the performances of the girls rather than the result at the end of the day. This is not the competition they'll be competing in the end. It's going to be tough to put a national team side to play against NBA in the male series to play against a current NBA team as well.
It's just like you're putting the Tigers against Minnesota Timberwolves
or the LA Lakers.
The Lakers,
So
yeah.
it's just something like that. We expect the LA Lakers to be the better side, and that was what happened in the day. She mentioned it that those teams are just better. But for the preparedness for the competition coming ahead, very good one. They are playing top level competition. This is the fall of women basketball. This is where the money goes down. This is where you see top players and top competitors. This is to improve the preparedness of the girls, get 1 or 2 more players out of Nigeria. Yes, they've had 1 or 2 join them. We see them representing the colors of the green, white, green. So it's a good one, and we're looking forward to the rest of their games on the tour.
All right, beautiful. We'll be looking forward to the rest of the games when it comes to the tour for the Tigers, and also, Wakama, the head coach of the Tigers team. Let's move away from that and let's talk football. Over the weekend, the Nottingham Forest, picked up the victory at the Stadium of Light against Sunderland, the Black Cats, 5-0. Trust me, Morgan Gibbs-White is on fire, getting that victory, and that also has given them a much lift ahead of the relegation battle. No,
the fear of relegation is the beginning of wisdom.
Love that.
So are not a side that are known to lose at home, but they lost at the Stadium of Light this time around, and good one for Nottingham Forest.
Chris Wood is back.
Chris Wood is back. That is what you want to see, and he came back at the right time for them with a goal. He helped the attack very well, and last season was one of the players that pushed them to the European ticket. But this season, he's been in and out of the team. The changes in coaches, they changed coach twice this season. And they parted ways with Nuno Espirito Santos. They brought in Sean Dyche. He all day work out between them and the managers, and now this is the third coach in charge, and he's looking to push them out of the relegation zone. So they're on 39 points now, one from the magical 40 points mark that would reportedly secure you your space in the Premier League next season. So good one for them, and help their goal difference as well. 5-0. I was shocked with that performance. It just blew my mind. And Nottingham Forest look like they're out of the relegation zone now. It's now between West Ham and Tottenham to battle it at the end of the day. All
right, beautiful. Let me just read out the result quickly. Match day 34 definitely gave us so much drama, where you have Sunderland, losing to Nottingham Forest on their home turf, 5-0. Fulham picking up victory against Aston Villa, 1-0. Wolverhampton Wanderers lost to Tottenham Hotspur. Finally, Tottenham Hotspur getting a win in 2026, but a sad one. For Xavi Simons was picked up an ACL and also will be out of the rest of the season for Tottenham Hotspur and also for the Netherlands when it comes to 2026 World Cup. João Paulina getting a goal for Tottenham. Let me inform you that West Ham picked up the victory 2-1 against Everton. Callum Wilson getting the win for West Ham. Liverpool picked up a victory against Crystal Palace 3-1. Mo Salah looks like a man who is out of the season for Liverpool. Alexander Isak finally getting a goal. Robertson getting a goal in that game. Arsenal picking up a victory against Newcastle 1-0. Eberechi Eze getting a goal right there for Arsenal. Kai Havertz is out injured. Eberechi Eze maybe a doubt to the rest of the season. Let me inform you that Manchester United are still to play tonight against Brentford. Now, quick one, Mabubat. I want to ask you your biggest surprise of the weekend and also which team impressed you the most.
Well, I would say that personally for me, I had no big surprises from the match that went on in the EPL, and the match that actually surprised me, I would say, was the turnout in the match between Arsenal and Newcastle. I know we've been talking about the fact that Arsenal they're under a lot of pressure, and they also have City right behind them. And then, but I actually I thought that when they are going against the match against Newcastle, they were going to go all in. Although the performance was somewhat a bit better compared to what we've been used to over time. But for a team that wants to fight desperately to actually secure a Premier League title after over 20 years, I wasn't expecting that they were going to be somehow fidgety in the match against Newcastle.
So was this a champion's performance or maybe just survival football?
Survival. Because after Eze scored the goal, which was okay, and I noticed that Arsenal were somewhat, the pressure seemed to be on them, and they seemed that they weren't particularly sure what is that they should do. Should they focus on packing the balls, or should they fight more and try to get more goals? Because deep into the encounter, it was Newcastle who sort of regained much confidence into that match, and I think they nearly came close to scoring when Wissa got that opportunity. And if he had actually fired that goal and he scored, we would have been having a different discussion now. It won't be a discussion of Arsenal being at the top of the table, Man City being behind them, maybe Arsenal can still fight and try to find a way to win. If they had, picked up just a single point when going against Newcastle, would have been certain that Man City are going to be the one who are going to go all the way in securing that title. So I do think that the pressure is on Arsenal, and I think that at this point in time, opponents want to face Arsenal because they are certain that the players are under pressure, and the fans themselves are not helping. I feel as though they are not supporting Arsenal players enough, and with the way it seems currently, it seems that with the statistics that we have, with the matches that Arsenal are going to play going forward, and with the opponents that City also have as well, I feel as though this title race, we might just maybe at some point in time see it slip away from the grips of Arsenal going deep into the encounter.
Who do you think has the tougher fixtures set of games? City have 5 to go now. Arsenal have 4. On City's side, I think they have to play Bournemouth,
Everton,
they have Brentford and Bournemouth. Those are very strong sides.
Yes.
For me, if you're going to ask me, I'm going to go for Manchester City. They have a tougher opponent than Arsenal.
They have the tougher opponents.
Because the reason I'm going to say that is because those opponents, they have something they're fighting for.
Yeah. Yes, that's why. But for Arsenal, okay, you want to
go ahead.
Okay, so as you mentioned, I do agree with you. Man City do have the tougher opponents. But if you take a look at this Arsenal side, they are not prioritizing or giving or using the fact that Manchester City has a much more vulnerable defensive side. They're not using that as an advantage, but it's more or less this pressure of them needing to win that is in them. Manchester City, they are vulnerable defensively. They have the tougher opponents, but they go into their matches with the mentality that they can win all the way and eventually secure a title win and come the end of the season. Arsenal do not have level of tougher opponents. I mean, opponents that have a lot to fight for. Although they do have, I think they have like 4 matches left now. But then they do not have tougher opponents as Manchester City does have it. Assuming they can basically just push that pressure aside a little bit, even though it is somewhat
shut out the noise.
Shut out the noise and play football. We might just see Arsenal eventually secure the win. But they're not giving themselves that encouragement. And I think that Arteta actually have a lot of work to do in terms of letting the players know the fact that, okay, this title race is between you and Man City. Man City has tougher opponents, and that in itself should be a form of encouragement for you to go further, not you slipping backwards or not being confident in your matches.
Okay, so now hold on already. So I think if I'm making out I'm going to correct an impression. The title race is not between you and Manchester City. It's between you and you.
Okay.
If I'm making out now, take out Manchester City from the once you see Manchester City as your problem, there's more problem. It's just between you and you. So how do I defeat me in this situation? Now, defeating me is the mentality right now. What needs to change? Now, Arsenal have tougher competitions going up. Now you have a Champions League that you need your full team to play. Now you're not going to field in a team B against Atletico Madrid. You're having players who are getting injured. Now, Nuruddin, let's talk about Arsenal right now. They finally picked up the victory against the Newcastle. Let's say maybe Newcastle that were not all of that.
Eddie Howe has won at the Emirates.
So it's really struggle for them right now. Now going into the next 4 games and also still have the Champions League to play. For you, what is sticking in the head for Mikel Arteta and those players?
Arsenal have 6 finals at the end of the season. Beautiful. 4 Premier League finals. 7 fixtures if they want to get 2 trophies at the end of the season. 7 finals, 4 in the Premier League, 3 in the Champions League if they want to lift 2 trophies at the end. So it's tough times for them right now. And one of the things that I think is messing with Mikel Arteta and his boys is the mentality of having not done it before. For City, she mentioned mentality. For City, they forfeited the Premier League with Pep Guardiola. So it's something they've done before. The level of pressure is not as much as that of Arsenal. Arsenal have players that are competing for the league for the first time, likes of Eze, Rice. This is the first time they're competing for the league during the Premier League, and having been on top of the season since match day 7 to lose your top spot bet 5 games to go, it does something to the mind. They were in race for 4 trophies, now down to 2. So it's a lot on them right now. That's understandable. So like you mentioned, Toluwanimi, they need to block out the noise, look inwards, set up the best team, and prioritize. The Champions League is still out of the semi-final is this week. So all focus has shifted away from the Premier League now. Focus totally on the game against Atletico Madrid during the week. And after the Atletico Madrid again, you have to lock in again. And that's why it's a team sport. You have players, yes, injuries has played his part in the course of the season. That is understandable, but you have to lock in. This is the business of the season. 7 games, and you have two trophies in the cabinet. So for Arteta and his boys, look at the best players that can influence games for you. Kai Havertz is out injured again, and I do see understand the reason why he starts ahead of Gyökeres in this decisive moment. Gyökeres has seemed to pick up form. A player that's coming from taking his team to the World
To
Cup,
the World Cup,
scored in
yeah.
about 7 games consecutively, or provided assists in games, influenced games, and
Yeah,
immediately
why sitting
about
on the bench?
why sitting on the bench and you're bringing him in tail end of the games. Yes, he hasn't scored as much as you expect him, judging by his form from Sporting Lisbon last season. But this season, towards the tail end of the season, it seemed to hit the purple patch, getting the goals and making the important decisions for his club. So maybe now that Havertz is back, we'll get to see Gyökeres back in the for attack. Are they going to get Bukayo Saka back, one of their prominent players?
You mean back in form because he's back
form.
now? Yeah.
Yes, back in form.
Yeah.
We want to see the Saka that takes on one or two players and decides his defense. So is he going to be back in form now? Eze is seeming to be in amongst the goals right now. He scored decisive goals for them. They have players that can influence the season for them. So for Arteta now, he has to block out the noise. He and his boys need to get locked in and get the victory for themselves at the end of the day.
All right, wrapping up the show, we're going to talk about the FA Cup quickly. Manchester City against Chelsea. Now, Chelsea finally picking up a victory and scoring a goal. Manchester City do it against Arsenal, but let's talk about those games quickly. Manchester City against Chelsea.
I mentioned on Friday, Sutton are not a side to look for. They visited 2 Premier League sides in their run to get to the semi-final of the FA Cup, and at Wembley over the weekend, they showed the reason why they are there. They scored first, but lost concentration in about 5 or 6 minutes, and City got back in the game. That's to show you the level of competitiveness you have to face if you want to win the league. So for City, congratulations to them. The final for the 9th consecutive season running. They are going to face Chelsea, who got a 1-0 victory against Leeds. Leeds had their chance in the game. Calvert-Lewin, he hit the bar. Chelsea looked like a different side from the side that played 2-3 weeks ago under Liam Rezano. Is McFarlane going to get the maximum victory for them at the end of the day? That's a very big question, but it looked like a revigorated side. João Pedro was back in the squad. We didn't see Cole Palmer, but we saw a glimpse of brilliance from the team at the end of the day, and they got the reception they wanted for their fans post-match. So now the final is set. Manchester City against Chelsea. They're going to meet themselves at Wembley once again.
All right, that game is going to happen on May the 16th. Definitely we'll be looking forward to that one. Finally wrapping up the show, Victor Osimhen back with a goal. Fantastic one for Galatasaray, the Istanbul derby. And it looks like when you're talking about Gala, they have their hands on the trophy. For you, great one for Victor Osimhen. And there was an history yesterday. I think I'm now going to be tweeting, maybe on your post now, or maybe no this post, say, you're going to be great, you're going to be good. So that when you are now great, maybe somebody, your PR team can go back to say, somebody spoke about you in 2017. Let me fly the person down because something like that happened.
Yes, it did.
So come on, talk to me about Victor Osimhen quickly.
There's been a lot circulating about Victor Osimhen even before this same counter against the opponents, which is also on the score sheets. And as you mentioned, as a Nigerian that we always love to see when one of our own is over there doing his thing and also playing at the top level in his team and getting the goals and putting himself on the radar. So yes, I do think that it is a good thing for Victor Osimhen, the fact that he's back with the goals and was able to give Galatasaray the 3-0 win. And as you mentioned, over the couple of days, we've seen a number of tweets and posts from individuals on X who are tweeting how Osimhen has been quite generous with granting their requests, getting them to watch Galatasaray matches over there in Turkey. So, as you mentioned, we all know that for everyone's story, what we find them isn't always where exactly their story began. Victor Osimhen's story started from way back in Nigeria when he was a nobody, and now today he's a somebody, and he's actually been a big inspiration to a couple of players over here in Nigeria. I think Amadego came